Welcome to Turning Pain into Purpose. Today is episode 3, and our guest today is Sherry Johnson. Sherry, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Today we are talking about healing through community and the power through network.
I lost my daughter Jordan at the age of 14 in 2017. She had sickle cell disease, and I have another daughter that has sickle cell disease. Jordan's journey was a little different in that she had several different things going on with her body, and she had blood transfusions every month that she had to get at the age of about 4, and just various things that she kind of went through. And her physicians said to me that if we were going to do anything to kind of help her, now would be the time. So we talked about putting her on the transplant list for a bone marrow transplant. I just said, okay, we'll do it, because at that time, and still now, the best match is a sibling. Well, she had a sibling that already had sickle cell disease, so that wouldn't work. And then their other sibling, my other daughter, has sickle cell trait, so she couldn't be a viable match. So the probability of finding a match, we would think, would be low. But Jordan was placed on the bone marrow registry, and there were multiple matches that came for her. At the time, we were thinking, wow, this is great. To be honest, Jordan was hesitant. What we talked about was her life being a testimony for what could be. We started on the journey. She had the bone marrow transplant. It was successful. She did great. But part of that process is they have to strip the immunity of the person receiving the bone marrow. A couple of months later, she ended up getting pneumonia, and her body wasn't strong enough to fight the pneumonia, and so she passed. And it was a true test of faith and even relationships for her family, especially for her sisters, one of which that lives with the same disease. And even though she didn't face the same challenges as her sister, they were close. They were a year and 5 days apart. Not only I had to deal with my loss of a child, but try to figure out how to help my daughters. I was used to being this big, bubbly personality. That's kind of what I'm known for. And on the inside, I was falling apart. I struggled with my faith and even returning to church. I was blessed with a wonderful set of close friends that wouldn't let me go. That even in those dark times where I wouldn't answer the phone, they would show up at my door and would just come and just sit with me with the blinds closed.
If I can ask you myself, when you felt the desire to retreat pretty much from society, from people, was that because you didn't want to answer questions, talk to people about it, you didn't want to have their sympathy?
It was actually all of that. When I would go to places and people would see me, and if they knew the looks, it was, they didn't know what to say, right? But they wanted to say something. And so it was me wanting to comfort them, to let them know, I'm okay. I won't fall apart if you ask me or hug me.
I didn't want to interact with people and have them ask me questions. It's almost like people organically have a desire to know what happened. And when they want to know what happened, they become so inquisitive that they ask questions after questions after questions. And it almost becomes an interview or an interrogation, not a conversation. I would rather someone talk to me just as a regular person, comfort me, cry with me, pray with me, Tell me anything other than an interrogation. Talk to me.
I think you said something, engage with you naturally. That struck me because I did not want a reminder because I lived with it every day. So when I was out in social settings, I didn't want the look.
Like you had a scarlet letter or something.
Yes, that's what it felt like.
We want to return back to what, there's never a normal. There's a new normal.
Yeah.
So we want to be able to embrace with that new normal. We're looking forward to hopefully being able to breathe.
Yes.
I want you to own checking on me because I can't tell you when to check on me. Sometimes I don't know when I need help.
Right. What I initially did was I ran away from my grief. I looked for distractions. I went back to work after a couple of weeks.
Did you?
I did. And I tried to resume a quote-unquote normal activity.
Okay.
By doing that, I did not actually allow myself to grieve. It hit me a couple of months later on my birthday. I was out of town for my birthday, and it just became so overwhelming, and I couldn't run from it any longer. And I called a friend who happened to be a therapist to say, I can't run any longer. I need help. I need therapy. And that admission helped me in so many ways that I could not imagine. And so now I'm able to know and understand and share that with others that are grieving, whether it's the loss of a child or whomever it is, to not run away from that grief. Allow yourself to grieve. By my going through that, again, that's helped me to be able to help others that are going through the grief process to speak to that and to help them to understand it's okay to grieve.
It is.
That you are forever. And I wear the badge proudly, where back then I didn't. But I'm a grieving mother, and I will be for the rest of my life.
Oh my God.
But that's okay.
It's okay.
And so my going through that has allowed me to help and tell others that.
For me, I did just the opposite. So you returned back to work. I was out of work for 5 months. Then I started a foundation that became my healing space. I felt like I was breathing more life into Chrissy. But now I realize that I want to go back and finish some of my grief. And I know that's a little strange to go back and finish some of it, but I feel like I need to step away from the foundation a little bit as the leader of the foundation and become kind of like the advisor. That's the role I'm looking at now, focusing on things like this that we're doing with the podcast and being able to help the community in that way. And have you ever participated in Grief Share?
I have not.
I've never been to Alcoholic Anonymous or AA or any of that, but it makes me think that this must be what their experience is, similar to being in a room with people who have a common thread. And whatever that common thread is for them is substance abuse. Grief is the common thread. It allows me, when I do the 12-week program, it allows me to revisit the steps of grief.
When I mentioned I reached out to a girlfriend and asked for a therapist, I began therapy. She really honed in on allowing myself to grieve. One of the first questions she asked me was, why did you go back to work?
Okay. So you stopped.
I stopped. She gave me the assignment to assign a time to grieve every day.
I like that.
And allow myself to feel what I was feeling.
For me, having confidence in myself, that I didn't feel like I had to know all the nuances of grief. I'll be honest with you, people tell you the 6 steps and all the different steps. I never try to memorize it and try to figure where I am in that circle. And just being able to know if I fall down now in this moment and cry for 5 minutes, that's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's actually better.
It is. It is. We talk about the steps, but we forget that it is a cycle. And with a cycle, it's a circle, right? It's a continuum.
Oh, yes.
It's not that you go step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and ooh, I've arrived.
Right.
It's always a journey. Jordan died a few days before Christmas, and she got sick right at Thanksgiving. And her birthday is September 30th. So September, October, November, December are challenges for me every single year. No matter how much I think I've gotten better, every year, just in the midst of whatever, I'm like, I have to remind myself, oh yeah, it's that time of year. Each year I feel like I'm getting stronger and better. This past year, I felt like the first year all over again. And I had to give myself permission that was okay. So what I had to tell myself, and that it's okay to tell yourself, is that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay. At our church, it's a big time where I'm in the choir and we're preparing for the holiday and singing different songs and stuff like that. This past year, I said, I need a break. I need a sabbatical. I'm not going to participate. And where the old me would be, push yourself, Sherry. Push yourself. Go ahead. Just push yourself. This time I said, nope. It's okay. It's okay. I don't have to be there. I don't have to force myself to sit here and stand here and cry my way through songs.
And not enjoy it.
it. I'm going to step away and allow myself to heal.
It reaffirms with me, because I finally made a decision that it's okay if I don't run MRCF myself, and the work can still be done by someone, and I can advise and still be Chrissy's mother and still continue her legacy. And it doesn't mean that I love her any less. So thank you for that permission and confirming with me that it's okay for me to step aside and do something next, which is what I'm loving the podcast, to be able to do something else that I want to do to carry on her legacy, but not meaning that the foundation has to stop, but someone else can do this. Someone else could sing that song in the choir.
Exactly.
You're not the only person that can carry that note, right? Someone else can lead the foundation, and the work can still be done. For the person there that's grieving, that might be listening and looking at this and have other children, I would love for you to share a little bit more about your surviving children and your relationship with them.
And the thing that I would encourage anyone that has other children that are grieving, make them go to therapy.
Yes, I agree.
My daughters were older, turning 18 and turning 15 at the time. I couldn't force her to go to therapy. One holds everything inside, and the other turned into like a ball of fire. One thing that my therapist told me was, regardless of your age, remember that you're dealing with a grieving child. Just how God forgives you, you have to treat her with the same love and give her grace for her acting out because of her grief.
It shows up in so many different ways.
It does, especially with children going through puberty and coming of age. So dealing with that in it by itself. I was so fearful of losing another child
Yes.
that I held on so tight that I pushed her away. It was so important for me to continue in therapy to learn how to allow that relationship to go through the cycle that it did.
Yeah.
It taught me how to sit back and be open and just listen.
Not judging.
Not judge, and be a safe space
Yes.
for her and her sister.
Yep. Chrissy's brother, John, is older, and he's 30, he'll be 35 this year, so when Chrissy passed, he was 31, she was 23. He said he lost his best friend and his sister. He said she didn't listen to me. I should have spoke to her a different way and told her it was non-negotiable that she needed to slow her life down, because in his mind she was moving so swiftly, enjoying life, doing her modeling and everything that she was doing, an entrepreneur. But he said to her 2 weeks before she transitioned, slow down. And so he dealt with some guilt that she didn't, in his mind, listen. And what did he do to not make her understand? And so he recently came back to me and he said, can I move in with you? And I saw that as an opportunity to spend time with my son when he needed me most. And also when I needed him as well. And I said to him, sure. He said to me just the other day, thank you for allowing me to be here to mourn. And I said, thank you for being here to live. And I asked him, I said, you are still mourning? He said, I am. Yeah. Losing Chrissy as my child is different from him losing Chrissy as his sister and his best friend. So that grief is different.
It is.
And I recently lost my sister, who was older than me. She was 71 years young. But I had that many, 50-something years with her. He had 23 years with her. So that is a difference time, measuring time and the loss and the amount of time people have with their loved one can make an impact on their grief and how it affects them. And so it does make you interact with your surviving children differently.
And I thank you because there have been things that have been laid on my heart to do in honor of Jordan and her legacy that I didn't have the strength to do. And I always look at you and I'm like, Sherry, you can do it. Whenever I see you and I look at you and I see the things that you're doing, it gives me hope and it allows me to believe that I can do it too.
You can do it too. You can do it too. And we talk about that in episode 1 of what remembering our loved ones, you know, carrying their legacy, what that looks like. Small, medium, big, whatever. There's no measuring stick. The only measuring stick is our love. Just do it. It's okay to start out small. Whatever that looks like, just do it. Just make a decision. Be happy about doing it and enjoying it. And knowing if you do it for 1 year, whatever it is that you decide to do to honor their legacy, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it looks like, there's peace and joy and happiness in doing it and remembering the love of who they are. That's the most important thing.